When I first brought my work online, I genuinely had absolutely no idea what I was doing. And that really was something of a surprise to me because I was a professional actor. I was completely comfortable on camera. And apart from that, I'd also spent decades working face to face with people from all over the world. I'd built businesses, I'd trained sales teams globally, and yet online I felt lost. Now, I didn't come online to be famous or to be visible just for the sake of it. I wanted my work to translate, to really mean something. I wanted to create an impact in a new environment. And yes, naturally, to make money, but only in ways that felt really legitimate. So I did what most sensible people do when they don't know something. I read some books and I found an extremely famous marketing guru. I followed everything to the letter, the templates, the forms, the scripts, the videos telling me exactly what to say and when to say it and exactly who I was supposed to be. I narrowed down my niche or niche. I chose my label. I positioned myself as the charisma coach, somebody who helps introverts become more charismatic on camera. Now, whilst it was in some ways fun, while I was recording those videos and reading those scripts so diligently and delivering everything I'd been taught, there was this quiet voice in the back of my mind, so subtle that I barely even noticed it as I worked. Although I enjoyed learning new things very much, that little voice kept saying, "This doesn't feel true, Howard." Now, here's the irony, because I was talking about being natural on camera while not feeling natural myself. That wasn't about confidence, it was about coherence. Nevertheless, despite all those doubts, after 6 months or so, I launched my product. And I got 2 clients. And both of those were 2 women that I'd already met during the famous guru's marketing course. Now, nobody else at all even responded. There was no interest. There was no resonance. There were no results. That failure stopped me, not in any big dramatic way, but in a more reflective way. And I realized something important. Despite being in my 50s, I'd put myself out of alignment. I wasn't expressing my quirkiness, my intelligence, my leadership, my depth. I wasn't drawing on the decades of understanding I had of how people actually build trust, how rapport really works, how selling really sizzles when it's done well. I'd built a global sales training business. I understood performance, not performative behavior, but real presence. And none of that fit into choose a niche, simplify everything, present a small problem and a small solution. That felt, frankly, dumb. And that's when I began to see things clearly. Because my resistance to following a formula wasn't based on fear, it wasn't about my age, and it certainly wasn't about any kind of lack of skill. Ultimately, it was about integrity. Simply put, how could I teach people how to be natural while betraying my own nature. Now, I'm not by any means suggesting that guru's work was without any value. I learned many aspects of online business, the whole principle of taking people from being complete strangers all the way through to taking them to being clients. That is a journey, surely, that we all have to learn and we all want to go on if we are either in business or building a business online. But the manner of traveling from A to B or A to Z, depending on your viewpoint, is a critical factor. Because here's the thing. I am an expert in sales. I've been doing it now for more than 50 years. I've trained people globally in sales. And following a formula, it would be very easy for me to say, make 5 to 10K a month in 40 days without using a script. That is a template, and it would probably be effective in the sense that I'm giving a tangible result, something that people really struggle with in a set time and without the thing that they find painful. However, that would attract people whose only real concern is to make money fast without feeling uncomfortable, if you want to put it that way. And yes, whilst it ticks certain boxes, it is in itself a cliche. It's something that I see everywhere online, and I'm sure you see it frequently too. And so even though I could offer that, I could produce those results, and I have produced those results for my clients, it's not something I'm willing to put into the marketplace for precisely the reasons that it doesn't really align with the way I work and the way that people I serve and work alongside want to work either. And so to me, there's, if you like, a delicate art between the group of people who just say, there's no need to invent a single thing. All you need to do if you want to get filthy rich is copy what the filthy rich have done and put your own little spin on it, and you too will become filthy rich. And then people who are very much idiosyncratic geniuses, but who may even draw a big crowd, but don't, in fact, do very good business. Surely I have come to this conclusion that there must be a middle road, a middle line. And for me, the secret has been in recombination. This is why so many mature experts struggle online. Not because they're lacking in confidence, not because they're bad at marketing, but because the dominant systems that we see all around us, they reward conformity over coherence. For people with years or even decades of experience, well, that creates a horrible identity mismatch. My work online really only began to move when I stopped asking myself, well, how do I fit into this system? And instead, I started to ask myself, how do I communicate who I actually am in a commercially viable way without distortion? Well, that changed everything. So look, if you're like me and you're a mature expert and something about online business has never really sat quite right with you, then it's my hope that this video will help to explain why. You may not need more mindset, psychobabble. You may not need sharper scripts. You may need, as I did, a deeper layer of alignment. This channel is really formed for precisely this reason. It's a place where together we can explore how our depth can truly travel without becoming shallow. I'm really looking forward to taking this exciting journey with you because your expertise is much needed in this world.